When you play the Game of Thrones,
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Welcome back to the Grease Goblins YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be doing day 3 of the 25 Days of Winds of Winter, year 4. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Meera Reed. This is a character I really enjoyed talking about. And a couple of months ago, I kind of did a similar video to this, but given I haven't talked about this character in the event, it made sense to finally get her own video in this whole monthly event I do every year. And especially given I'm running out of actual characters to talk about, a lot of them are going to be minor or more niche characters for this event. It made sense to talk about Meera. Meera is attached to one of the most mysterious and magical plots in A Song of Ice and Fire, and that's led to a lot of speculation. What is going to happen with the character, and how much of that is going to be somewhat similar to the show version of the character in Game of Thrones. So let's kind of do a recap. So Meera, her brother Jojen, Hodor, Bran, all the usual suspects, they end up getting to Bloodraven's cave. This has begun Bran's next arc of him learning how to become the Three-Eyed Crow, or maybe a vessel for the old gods of maybe Bloodraven himself. And Meera has found herself in a position where she's not really all that happy. She doesn't have a lot to do, and also it seems like her brother is deteriorating in front of her eyes, and even he might actually have been sacrificed to awaken Bran's powers. And we don't know if that's exactly canon yet, albeit I do think it is, based on all the evidence. I'd really check out, I don't know if it was last year or the year before's video on Jojen Paste. Highly recommend, it was one of my favorite videos to do. But if you go off that logic, I believe Jojen has been killed and or sacrificed for Bran. So Meera is going to have to deal with that. She gave up so much of her life to get Bran here, and here were the old gods and their servants, I guess, and the children of the forest in Bloodraven, and they instantly sacrificed him. And so how does Meera think about that situation? You also have the issue of Meera is just kind of sitting around. She kind of might be feeling like this is pointless, it's going nowhere. Jojen gave his life for this, dealing with grief throughout the beginning of the book. And as Bran is gaining more powers, we don't know how Bran is going to change as an individual. Like in the show, he went full robot mode. He had basically no emotion left. I don't think that's going to be the case in the book. I think in the case of the book, Bran is going to become very conflicted. I think he is not going to go crazy, but he's going to have like multiple personalities, I almost feel like. I feel like he's going to have his own personality fighting for the spotlight, while also being a vessel for the old gods, for Bloodraven himself, maybe the children of the forest, that like he's such a conflicted character because he might be hearing voices or being manipulated by other forces that are not his own, especially as he leaves Bloodraven's cave. Meera is going to serve in this role as like his protector. I do very much believe that Meera is going to get Dark Sister. I believe the ancestral sword of House Targaryen is in Bloodraven's cave. It seems the most natural place for it to be, given we've heard nothing about the sword since Bloodraven took it north, and I've really questioned why he was allowed to keep the sword for so long. But maybe Bloodraven just kept it when he went north, and that's where it has been all these years. Now I really wonder, like, if that is the case, why didn't Aemon ever really think about this or bring it up or tell anyone? Because it's largely become a mystery. I do think we're going to see it with Meera, and especially when you think about the people that have wielded Dark Sister. You really think of Visenya, for instance. Meera being like that protector to Bran, I think it's just very fitting the way that that could go down. And so that part of it, I think Meera will be very different than she was in the show in terms of her personality and her motivations, and I just think who she'll be as a person, because I think the show really glossed over Meera, especially once we got Bran to that cave. They didn't really care about Meera all that much. She was just really a vessel of transporting Bran. That's really all she was. And in the books, I don't think that's going to be the case at all. We've spent a lot of time with Meera. We've come to know her and like her as a character. She's going to have real, I think, problems and conflictions with what the Children of the Forest and Bloodraven are doing and what her brother probably died for. So as we get further into the Winds of Winter, I think we're going to see some similar situation to what we saw in the show. The Hold the Door sequence in the show was way too smart for D&D. D&D did not come up with that by themselves, and that opens a really interesting door because it shows that there is, to some degree, time travel in the books, but also it'll show that like Meera will be like the last protector of Bran that he has left. If Summer is to die, if Hodor is to die, Jojen has already died. She's going to become that last protector of Bran, and I think that's going to be really interesting when you look at the character of Meera, because she is somebody that isn't fully going to be behind what is happening here, but she's going to have to make that choice and that sacrifice to protect Bran, protect what her brother died for. And so probably with the help of Bloodraven, probably Cold Hands, they will probably make it south in terms of Bran and Meera. But I think this is where it gets to another interesting point, because I think Meera could very easily be the key to that connection of Howland Reed, of bringing him into the story. And I don't necessarily think Bran is going to instantly go to see Howland Reed or anything like that, but I think Meera could be the domino that gets that script going, where we start getting the reveals of what happened at the Tower of Joy, getting the Reeds more involved in the story, the discovery that Galbert Glover and Mage Mormont are still alive, and the possession of probably Robb's will, and the knowledge of that kind of final meeting that Robb had about the succession and his legacy. I think all of that can stem from the character of Meera. That is the natural progression of where that character is going to go. And you also think about Dark Sister bringing back the Targaryen dynasty with literally the ancestral sword of House Targaryen, and then also going to the person in her father, Howland Reed, who knows that Jon is a Targaryen, the legitimate heir to the Iron Throne, if young Griff is not who he says he is, and that maybe Jon was legitimized or whatnot, or how you even believe that like Daenerys is a woman versus Jon as a bastard should get the throne, whatever you want to say there, like he would be a legit contender for the Iron Throne. Also possibly would be a legit Stark as well. That's a really interesting moment for me, and it's something I've really liked as I've looked at the character of Meera being this key to unlocking all these different combination of things, like Bran coming back into the story, being the key to protecting him and getting him back, being the key to opening up the door to the King of the North, all of the Northern conspiracies kind of combining into Jon's storyline, with Rickon possibly coming back with Davos. She could literally be the mold to how all those things happen, because nobody else has a connection to Howland Reed, well, like his daughter would. So I think that is Meera's main role in the story going forward once she's done with the Bran plotline. Because once Bran does get back to where he's with his family, he's with other people that'll protect him, Meera's role, like what happened in the show, starts to shrink. Like she's not necessarily necessary to that anymore. And I think they did Meera incredibly dirty in the show. One of the worst, I think, endpoints of a character. I don't think it's going to be like that in the book at all, but I think that will also still apply. Like Meera, once she gets Bran back, she's going to be like, well, what is my role now? I don't need to protect Bran. My mission is complete. So what is that next stage of that arc for that character? It would be going back to see her father. It would be communicating with her father. And you got to also remember, Bran is also going to be seeing possibly these visions. He might also know of some things that happened at the Tower of Joy and might even be instructing Meera to go get Howland so that we can legitimately tell this story. Because if Bran just came out and said, yeah, this is what happened, people might not believe him. But if you have somebody that was there, that was present at the Tower of Joy, who is a trusted person of House Stark, is probably one of Ned's closest allies, that is a big moment. And especially then when you add on the fact that people with Robb's will would also probably be with Howland Reed, it just really, I think, combines all these plot lines well, and it's something that George needs to do. He needs to combine our plot lines, and Meera could be the biggest foil to that. And so that is my predictions for the character of Meera Reed. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And like I said, these videos are not going to be super long. They just can't be, especially when they're coming out daily. I just don't have the time to edit 25 videos that are 20 minutes long for basically an entire month. And especially if these videos are being recorded basically 2 to 3 weeks before they even come out. I hope you guys enjoy them for the uploads. I'm sorry if you wish they were longer. I just don't have the time to do those. And so thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys in day 4, and we might have a little bit of a surprise with a guest in The Advocate talking about Bowen Marsh.